All right. Hey, everyone, thank you for coming out. Thanks for the folks who are watching at home. This is our regular February Parrot Cove meeting. As you know, we are hosting a Meet the Candidates night tonight. First thing, I just want to go over a couple of limitations. If you haven't figured it out yet, this is a totally different format that we've done in the past. We all know the reasons why. In addition, we have 4 races going on this time, and we have a lot of candidates. We had 10 candidates who wanted to come out and speak to us tonight. We're very appreciative and grateful. We have 2 different audio situations. We have the live feed for those at home, and then we have all of you guys here. If you can't hear in the back, you may want to consider coming a little more forward. We're not able to have an audio system and this at the same time because it would just be a mess, just a backfeed mess. So our format that we're going to go through tonight, we're going to have our candidates go through an opening, a closing, and answer 5 questions that the board has come up with that are relevant to us here in Parrot Cove. We have them timed. We've asked them to cycle through as quickly as possible. I'm actually going to add and remind them to speak as loudly as you can, if you would, please, so we can get to the people in the back. Luke, can you hear me okay? Or is our sound all right? Okay, so our sound's good right there. We are not going to go through any of our regular Parrot Cove business tonight because this is going to take a lot of time to get through everything. So our format, as mentioned, we're going to do 1.5 minutes for the opening. We're going to do 1 minute for the question, and we're going to have a 3-minute closing. So I'll just go through a couple of things. Can you guys hear me in the back okay? You can? All right, good. So as you know, Parrot Cove for a number of years now has invited those running for our nonpartisan municipal, city commission, and mayor positions to come out and tell us about themselves, their ideas, and answer some questions on matters specifically to the members and neighbors in Parrot Cove. In the past, we've only had a handful of people, and it was either 2 or 3 districts. This year's the high year. We have 3, and then we have the special election district as well. We also didn't have the COVID to deal with. So it presented us some challenges. We felt that it was better to move forward and come up with a way to do this, even though it's clearly not comfortable. We got all you guys out here instead of inside, and we have limited capacity. So also I want to thank everyone, too, for coming out and being good sports. And also the candidates. I want to stop for a second and thank the candidates. Yes, give them a round of applause. I realize this isn't the normal political element, but it's Lake Worth Beach, so I guess we get a pass on that. This may not be the most comfortable for you. We understand that. We acknowledge it, and we appreciate it. So thank you for putting up with our kind of ragtag way we're doing this. All right, so we felt it better to do this to meet the challenge as best we could rather than deprive our neighbors of information that could be helpful for them to decide who will best represent them. All right, so to that we have the 3 districts in the mayor position here. And so for spacing, we have some of the candidates up here and some are out there. What we're going to do is we're going to read for the, sorry, the phone's going off. We're going to go by district for the questions, and then we're going to kind of move them along. So each question, the district's going to move over and the person that went. We went alphabetically, and with the very last question, because it didn't line up evenly, we drew names out of a hat. So the orders work out pretty well, where if you went first one time, you'll definitely be going last again. If you went first twice, last, and then the last one was just drawing right out of a hat. So we're going to move through them as quickly as possible. We're going to read the order in which the candidates will come up and speak for each section. So we've asked the candidates to remember the person before them, so that way they can come up and be ready to speak as soon as that person is done. That's the best way we can keep things moving along. Candidates have the option to sit up here if they like, or sit out in the audience or in the seating area if they feel a little more comfortable with that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and And you can wave to those in the audience. I know you won't be on camera, but I'm going to go ahead and read our list of candidates that are here with us this evening. So under the mayor category, we have running Pam Triolo. Over here, Pam, wave, thank you, Pam. William Joseph. William Joseph, I see you. Thank you, William. Betty Resch. Betty Resch is out here somewhere. Thank you, Betty Resch. Scott Maxwell, out here. Thank you very much, Commissioner. Sarah Malega. Thank you. Carla Bloxon. Thank you, Carla. Christopher McVoy. Over here. Ryan Olblander. I saw him somewhere. There he is. Thank you, Ryan. For District 3, Andy Amoroso. He's over there. Thank you, Commissioner. And Kimberly Stokes. All right. Okay. All right. Luke, you have a mic over there for me, correct? Yep. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to go take my seat. I'll be speaking from the other mic over there. We're going to move along to the introduction here, and we'll start calling out the list. So give me just a moment. At a minute, they'll give you a warning. Then they'll cut off a minute and a half. On the questions where it's 1 minute, they're just going to let you know when it's done. And then on the closing, we're going to call it out, I think 2 minutes we said, right, and give a warning. So that way you know, because those two you'll be going on a little bit more for. And we do ask all the candidates, please, if you would, for the sake of time, to keep it concise and move it along for us for that. Thank you. All right. Sorry about the back and forth audio stuff. I want to make sure the candidates hear me. So this is the order that we're going with for the intro. So we're starting with mayor. We're going alphabetically. So William Joseph will start, followed by Betty Resch, followed by Pam Triolo. We'll then go to District 1. We'll have Sarah Malega, followed by Scott Maxwell. We'll then go to District 2. We'll have Carla Bloxon, Chris McVoy, then Ryan Olblander. Then we'll go to District 3. Andy Amoroso, Kimberly Stokes. All candidates know who they're going to be speaking after. Yes? Everybody get that? You want me to read it again, or did we get that? You got it? All right, so who's up first?
I can say good evening. It's not an afternoon yet. Only one thing you need to know: change will come. My name is Mr. William Joseph. Hey, many of you already know who Mr. William is. If you say you don't know William, you look like you just coming in the city of Lake Beach. I'm always there and almost on the ground. Thank you. Thank you.
Just a reminder, if you can project your voice as best as you can, guys, for the back. If you can. And remember the mic.
My name is Mr. William Joseph.
There you go. Stay there. Don't back away.
Okay. And thank you very much for having me this afternoon. And, you know, it's a very nice afternoon. It's very nice evening in the city of Lake Beach right now. And what about everywhere else? So, pretty much everybody know me. They know who Mr. William is. At the good time, the bad time, I'm always around. I'm not going to guy who show up for the pictures. I'm always there. I'm here for the community, to serve my community. Pretty much, many of candidates, they know me. I work with them and then make sure they get to the position. Hey, today's something changed. I have to put my feet up. Once again, my name is Mr. William Joseph. I'm a father, husband, and I'm a very responsible father, a loving husband. My beautiful wife is next over there, always with me. Thank you. So I've been in the city of Lake Worth Beach since 1995, and then I'm still there. I have 4 kids, 23, 17, 16, and 2-year-old. So, oh.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to put these down. My name is Betty Resch, and I'm running for the position of mayor of Lake Worth Beach. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Thank you. Louder? Sure. I have been living in Lake Worth Beach for 40 years. I moved here in 1980, but I started visiting here in 1967 because my grandmother bought a little house down on South E Street, and we came here and started swimming in the pool and loving this town, and I finally moved here. When I first moved here, I was a social worker. I got a job as a sexual assault counselor, and in 1995, at the age of 35, I drove up to St. Paul, Minnesota, and went to law school. When I came back, I was a prosecutor of only crimes where children were the victims for 5 years here in Palm Beach County. After that, I was the city attorney of Lake Worth for 5 years, and after that 3 years, I was the town attorney for Lake Park. So my learning curve in terms of how a city works and how budgets work and that sort of thing, I'm fairly well acquainted with that. I went into my own private practice in 1998 doing family law, and I would love to be your mayor. Thank you very much. You call time? Oh, I still have 30 seconds. I'm so excited. I believe that it's time for a change. There's a lot of things going on in the city that I think we need to push forward a little bit. My opponent has been here 10 years as mayor. I believe that being mayor or commissioner is not a career. It's a public service. And with my background, my experience, and the fact that I work for myself, I can do it. Thank you. I need your vote. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mayor Pam Triolo. I've been mayor for actually 9.5 years because the elections used to be in November. 2011 was when I was elected. My husband and I moved here right after we got engaged. We lived first in Eden Place. Then we looked to expand and move to College Park. And now we are residents and members of our Parrot Cove Neighborhood Association. That tall drink of water over there with my name on his shirt is my husband. We've been married for 23 years. And when I got here, and why I even ran for mayor in the first place, is because the city was full of crime. There were gangs on every street corner in downtown. There were electric rates that were up higher than the moon that the commission was using to pad their coffers with. And I will tell you, since I've been in office, property values are up double digits. Crime is down double digits. And I will tell you right now that we are going in a positive new direction. The Gulf Stream is going to break ground, and we are going to experience, finally, the slide into our full potential. Finally. Don't give up on me now. I won't wear out my welcome. And I promise to go back to the private sector, but let me finish what I've started. Thank you so very much. Do I have more time too? 2 seconds. And we're opening the pool too, by the way.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sarah Maliga. Many of you know me. I am co-owner of the Zoo Health Club in downtown Lake Worth. I'm running for Lake Worth Beach City Commission, District 1. I had a great speech written, but unfortunately, I'm going to leave that aside because I knocked on somebody's door this weekend, and unfortunately, his husband just passed from COVID. And I would like to dedicate my minute of silence to him, and knowing that this disease is real and we need to mask up, We need to social distance. This man thought his husband was coming home 3 days ago, and he passed away. He's a resident of College Park, and I would be remiss if I didn't take my minute of silence and just dedicate it to him. Thank you. Thank you all for cooperating.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? No. Oh, I'm not taking the mask off. Can you hear me now?
No, closer. Go closer.
Can you hear me?
Louder.
Okay. Everyone, thank you for having me, Parrot Cove Beach Club. My name is Scott Maxwell. I'm running for re-election for the City Commission. Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Maxwell. I'm running for re-election for the city's City Commission. And out of respect for my opponent's bereavement issues and respect for her not giving an opening statement, I'll pass on my opening statement as well. I'll take my opportunity to do the very best I can to answer your questions throughout the evening. And then anything I need to add, I'll put in my closing comments. Okay? Thank you all very much.
Carla, yep.
Hello, my name is Carla Blockson in Parrot Cove. Thank you for having me.
The mic is only for the video, not for the room.
I'm sorry. This happens to me a lot. They have to move the mic. But because I'm small doesn't mean that I'm not serious about the issues facing Lake Worth. We have a lot of things that we need to take care of. It's not just the Gulf Stream. It is the pool, but it's crime, it's homelessness, it's COVID. My brother went into the hospital before Christmas with COVID. He just went back to the nursing home 5 days ago. He's not out of the woods, but they say he doesn't have COVID, but now he's a long hauler. But he's in the same position that a lot of people in Lake Worth are. And we need to make sure that we get the vaccine. The people at our towers deserve priority. They're over 65, and nobody has reached out to them. I stand for a lot of things. I've been on the Electric Utilities Board, the Community Relations Board. I believe in term limits. I think that Lake Worth is a very good place to live, but it's only as good as we make it. Use your vote wisely. Don't get caught up in the emotion, get caught up in the future. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Christopher McVoy. I'm running for District 2 as well. And I'm running because of a very strong belief in democracy, in a belief that regular citizens need to step up periodically and do a stint in service for their city, particularly citizens who have no particular business connection to the city. I think that's very important. I'm also doing it because I've lived here 20 years, 25 years, and I love and am very dedicated to this quirky, unusual city and keeping that character. My background is as a research scientist. I came to Florida 25 years ago to work on Everglades restoration. I've been very privileged to work on one of the biggest restoration projects in the country. What that does, in addition to, as a scientist, just a general dedication to facts and thinking and analysis, I was very lucky to work as an advocate for Everglades restoration with a wide range of constituents, stakeholders, environmentalists, but also water managers, farmers, and I was able to have a particular talent at explaining complicated issues. that worked pretty well. I would like to make those talents available to our city again, and I thank you for your vote.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me? All right, thank you. My name is Ryan Oblander, sometimes pronounced Oblander if you're reading it on the phone. It's up to you. I don't really care. If you're watching from home and you want to press pause on this video and learn more about me and what I stand for, where I'm from, and what my vision is for the city of Lake Worth Beach, just go to www.voteoblander.com. See, there I did it with the O. So I actually was asked to run in 2019 by 2 commissioners, not because we play golf on weekends, but because they know that I'm very persistent, determined. I have fortitude with my neighborhood. I've been keeping them afloat for well over 15 years. I actually was instrumental in forming the Sunset Ridge Neighborhood Association in 2006, and I've been president since 2008. I've also served on the Electric Utility Advisory Board, currently as chair, but recently had to resign because I'm running for office. So I'm well versed with all the nuances of our city utility and all the different things that are coming down the pipeline that are very exciting to me, especially with the FAU grants and SEMREC and Ocean Marine Renewable Energy. It's very exciting times to be in Lake Worth Beach. I know that was a dream of the mayor's for a long time, and when I approached that subject at one meeting, it was said that it's just a dream. But right now, it could be a reality. The city is going to be could be a global tech hub for international business in this field, so it's very exciting. And also going with green energy concepts. Is that the end of the time? Okay, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Andy Amoroso. I am your current District 3 City Commissioner, and I'm running for re-election. I'm also your sitting Vice Mayor, and I'm a native Floridian. I'm a small business owner. I got involved years ago to keep my doors open as a small business owner and move the city forward. That's exactly what we've done. My record speaks for itself. If you look and to see what I'm doing, quite often I say if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. I can assure you that the residents of Lake Worth Beach are at the table. I sit on the board. I'm the incoming president for the Palm Beach County League of Cities. I sit on the board for the Florida League of Cities. I sit on the Florida League of Cities Transportation and Housing Board. I sit on the National League of Cities Economic and Development Board, and I also sit on the State Attorney's Sober Home Task Force. I do that to represent the residents of the city of Lake Worth Beach, and I'm asking for you to re-elect me to one more term. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kim Stokes, and I'm running for City Commissioner District 3. It's great to be here with the Parrot Cove Neighborhood Association. I'm sure you love your neighborhood as much as I love mine. I bought a home in Eden Place 10 years ago, and walking around the neighborhood, going to the meetings, going to the socials, I was able to meet and make so many great friends. And it's that sense of community that I love so much about Lake Worth, and I want to build on to help make improvements in our town. I was also part of a strong community during my years at Lake Worth High School. First as a student there, and then also as a math teacher, a cheerleading coach, and a class sponsor. Being surrounded by caring teachers and the diverse students was one of the hardest things to have to leave. But now I want to give back to the community in a different way by becoming your next City Commissioner for District 3. I am going to bring a fresh perspective to City Hall, that of a former teacher who worked closely with kids from all over the city and the mother of 2 daughters. And I want to find good solutions to our immediate problems, but I also need to be planning for the future and tackle some of our larger problems. I will use the skills I have developed over the past 10 years as a professional in educational technology. In my line of work, collaboration, mutual respect, and creative problem solving are critical to our success, and I believe those are critical to the city of Lake Worth Beach as well. And I want to please vote for me to bring that experience to Lake Worth Beach. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks, guys, for keeping your voices up. I know we have a little bit of side noise over here. We are at a bar restaurant, so we're, I guess, going to have some people out there. So thank you for doing that. I'm confident that I did not hear it, but I just want to make sure that everything is applause only. No jeers or anything, just applause, which is what I heard, applause. All right, so we're going to move along now to our first of 5 questions. I'm going to read the question first, then I'm going to say the order of everybody, all right? That way the first person doesn't have to... Actually, no, let me do it the other way around. Sorry, long day. I'm going to read the order, so that way you guys know who's going to be first and what order it is, so that way it take a little more time for me to read the question. So, the order for question number 1, because we're now shifting the districts, goes over District 3. Kim Stokes will be first. Andy Amoroso will be second. Then we're shifting to Mayor. Betty Resch, Pam Triolo, William Joseph. Okay, then we're going District 1. Scott Maxwell, Sarah Malega. Then District 2, Chris McVoy, Ryan Oldblander, Carla Bloxon. Everybody get that? All right, so you know the order. All right, so. All right, first question. I'm going to give you 1 minute. We ask you please be as direct and concise as you possibly can. Again, we're time challenged. So, first one, accessory dwelling units, also known as ADUs, are permitted to be constructed and rented as living space in Lake Worth Beach multifamily neighborhoods. In single family, they may be constructed without being legal living space and not rented. Parrot Cove is a single family residential neighborhood allowing 7 units per acre. Arguments have been made that legalizing and encouraging ADUs in single-family areas is a backdoor zoning/land use change to multifamily, and others have argued that more people are needed anywhere we can put them regardless of zoning and land uses. Question: are you in favor of allowing and encouraging ADU rentals in Parrot Cove as a single-family zone neighborhood? Yes or no must be the first part, and then please expand. Okay? So it's going to start off with Kim Stokes. On deck will be Andy Amoroso. Thank you. 1 minute.
I know you're looking for a yes or no answer, but I think that we need to have a real rich conversation about what all the consequences are of this. I am in favor of making sure that we can build appropriately and not impact the quality of life of our residents. And I also know that we have a lot of conversation around this. We had workshops that we need to have. We need to get input from the people that want to have those types of dwellings and the people that are going to be affected by them. So I am here to listen to your neighborhood, and I want to hear from everybody how it's going to affect them, because I know that not everybody in this at this meeting right now probably has the same point of view. So I would feel irresponsible coming out strongly with a yes or no right now until listening from all sides of the argument.
As you probably know, I voted no on this issue. I heard from this neighborhood. I heard from the neighborhoods, and you bought in a single-family neighborhood, and you were clear on the message that you sent to City Hall, and we voted on this, and we said no, because you are entitled to the quiet that you bought. You bought into a single-family neighborhood. You're entitled to that neighborhood. Thank you.
Hi, this is a very tricky and loaded question. I live in a multifamily district, and I have an ADU behind me. I bought my grandmother needed a place to live, so I bought a place that she could stay at behind me. I understand the problems of a single-family neighborhood. It's a different kind of feel to a single-family neighborhood. But I think Kim's right. We need to hear more. Andy, I'm sure, has heard a lot. So a yes or no question? I could say no, and I could say, well, that's what you want me to say. But I want to tell you that we need to look at it. I think that there are ways to do it that won't impact. Some people have Grammys that need to live behind their house. And so to build it as this evil thing that's going to destroy my neighborhood is a little unfair. So I think that, again, more input from the people. If it can be regulated, it can be a quality of life improvement for some folks. Maybe not rented out as a unit, but a family member to come in. The funny thing is, if you put an ADU in your, if you connect it to your house, it's not even an issue. Thank you.
Hi. The way in which the issue was proposed to us, my answer is no. You know, first it was an argument about, well, Granny can't have a kitchen in her ADU. So it was just about putting a kitchen in. If that was the case, we didn't have to have the whole discussion on it. We could have just changed the law as it was so that Granny could have a kitchen in her existing accessory dwelling unit. But that wasn't the case. All of a sudden, by the end of the conversation, it became that triplexes, duplexes, and anything else could be built within single-family neighborhoods. And that's not what people moved into the neighborhood said. I know people in my neighborhood association were very upset about it. But remember, the laws, as stated, accessory dwelling units exist, and they are grandfathered in. They can be built, and you can lease to your granny. But to rent them out is a different story. And that's a conversation that will entail parking, our 25 and 50-foot lots, what parking is going to look like on your streets. And that's why the neighborhood associations were up in arms about bringing that in. There's only a few neighborhood associations left with single-family zoning.
I am not going to answer yes or no for this question. Thank you. I'm not going to answer yes or no for this question. According to the campaign that I've been doing outside, I heard to the resident from 35 to 40 years ago, I heard about the resident. We cannot keep in this side behind the resident because they know exactly what they want. I know sometimes the government has to decide for the people. And in 10, 20 more years, the 10 gonna be okay. People gonna say, okay, yes, what was Mr. Joseph was do, it was right for us. But now it's not at the right moment. It's not the right time to decide for the community. The community needs to have the power again and then to participate on everything that they're doing in the community. The residents know exactly what they want again. So we are not the one who's going to be there to decide for them. Like myself, I'm not the only one who put myself there. The community put me there. That's what I get from the community. Thank you.
Okay. I also voted against ADUs in the single-family neighborhoods for a very good reason, and that is each of you who bought a single-family home had an expectation that you're going to live in a single-family neighborhood. It is perfectly okay if your grandmother or a a dependent family member needs a place to stay. That's perfectly okay. But it is not okay to turn this open and just have everybody building in their backyards because they want to generate income. Because then, in effect, you're turning it into a multifamily neighborhood, and that's not what everybody built. That's not what everybody purchased their homes for. It's not dissimilar, and I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but I probably will. It's not dissimilar from the Airbnb situation. You know, that's a bigger issue that we have to tackle, but it's a similar situation. We have folks coming into our neighborhoods, and they're bringing traffic, they're bringing cars, they're bringing people we don't know into our neighborhoods, and that's not exactly what we all signed on for when we bought our single-family homes. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Am I in favor of ADUs? If they're already existing and your sister or your daughter or your grandmother's living in the back of your apartment, it makes sense to me. But if you're just trying to turn around and turn it into an Airbnb and you're not licensed and it's not regulated and you're bringing traffic and you're bringing nuisance to your community, absolutely not. Single-family residents are meant to be single-family residents. Now, they're downtown Jewel, people want to have Airbnbs. It's a whole different discussion. But I do know people who live within Parrot Cove who their family do live in the back of their ADUs or they let their sister stay there when they come into town. That to me is acceptable. I want to build a garage and put one above it so when my sister's in my house, she's not in my spare bedroom. She's outside in the garage where she needs to be. So that's my answer.
I think the key is we do need to think about it a bit more. Here's a situation. I think all of us are in favor of the idea that if you have an older relative or perhaps a relative that has other needs and you would like to make an accommodation for it, most of us would be in favor of that. What happens when you do that and build that and that person passes on, and now you have this space. Is it okay to, at that point, rent it in some limited fashion? I think the answer on that is let's focus on what are the problems that doing it creates, and figure out when can those be regulated in a fair and reasonable fashion, and figure it out from there.
Sorry, I had a roadblock by a puppy. But yeah, the answer for me would be no, and not at this time. Others have said it and mentioned it about the Airbnbs and short-term rentals. It could be a proliferation of short-term rentals all over the neighborhoods that you don't want. But if there were some regulations passed down from the state or county level that said if there's deed restrictions or penalties for going beyond long-term rentals to short-term rentals, that's something that we can look at that time. But for right now, my answer would be no. Thank you.
Thank you. When you talk about ADUs, you have to look at each situation. In Parrot Cove, you moved here because you wanted a single family home. You did not want this. This also becomes an issue for home rule. Because in my neighborhood in Vernon Heights, I could put a whole nother house in my backyard. My mother and my sister are currently living with me, and my sister is on dialysis. But I have enough room in my house to accommodate her. And when I think about bringing my mom down, I would add on to my house. I would not get an ADU because I don't want someone who is not a close relative to be living in my house. So that's going to take care of it. You have to decide, how are you going to regulate it? And how are you going to know when Granny dies and they start renting it to someone else?
Thank you, everyone. Just to clarify two things on that, I know it was a long read-in, so you may have missed it. The key was Parrot Cove and rent. Grannies and that were not part of that part there. So, okay, so moving along to a related topic, vacation rentals. Commonly called Airbnbs. There are a number of these within Parrot Cove. Some feel these are homes and owners who positively contribute to the city by having a motivation to keep them in good shape and be good neighbors, while putting upward pressure on values to contribute to our much-needed tax base and add to the tourist tax. However, others feel they are nuisances that bring noise and parking complaints with the absentee owners who detract from the community. So the question, can and should Lake Worth Beach regulate vacation rentals? Yes or no, and please expand on why. And I realize I flipped this around because I got it wrong last time. So question, then people. So question 2 is now District 2 will be Ryan Olblander up first, followed by Carla Bloxon, Chris McBoy. Going to District 3, Andy Amoroso, followed by Kim Stokes. To the mayors will be Pam Triolo, followed by William Joseph, then Betty Resch, and over to District 1 will be Sarah Malega and Scott Maxwell.
Could you read the question again?
I will read it again, yes. And thank you. If anyone does want me to read it again, by all means, even when you come up, shout it out, I will. The vacation rentals, commonly called Airbnbs, are a number of them within Parrot Cove. Some feel that the homes and owners positively contribute to the city by having a motivation to keep them in good shape and be good neighbors, while putting positive upward pressure on the values for the tax base and add to the tourist tax. However, others feel they are nuisances that bring noise and parking complaints with the absentee owners and detract from the community. The question, can and should Lake Worth Beach regulate vacation rentals? Yes or no, and please expand on why. Ryan Holbland.
Real quick, just to let everybody know, the mic's fine where it is. It's picking up everybody's voice great.
It doesn't work. We're all doing for cars.
No, it's not a PA system.
Yeah.
It's for the live stream.
It's only for the live stream.
Yeah.
If we couldn't have two, they would cause problems with each other.
Yeah.
That didn't count against my minute, did it?
No.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, we're done.
All right. I'm sorry. Are we taking questions from the audience?
No, we're just gonna to go with, they've got to be able to define them on that. We can't have people shouting out from the audience. I'm sorry.
All right, can we start now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yes, we should regulate them. The question is how. The question is always how. I think that they are necessary because we don't have any hotels to provide housing and lodging for tourism that we need. We desperately need tourism dollars, and they do provide that space so we can get people into our downtown, to our beach, and spend their money. We could take a look at other counties, how they were doing it. Counties that they have been doing it for years, so they probably have a roadmap. The actual websites themselves, they have a lot of rules themselves that they have to follow. So there has to be a discussion, and people have to get together, put their heads together, and figure out how to allow these things, but also not tick off your neighbors. So that's always the question, and we can figure this out because other counties have already done it. Thank you.
The issue of Airbnbs has been decided by the state. The state of Florida has decided that the Airbnbs that are in effect are legal, and you cannot make new Airbnbs illegal. We do not have home rule on that issue. So we have to find a way to make the existing law work for us. No, yes, they must be regulated, people must be taxed, and they must be inspected. And neighbors should be able to call on a complaint to say, this is too loud, I need the police to come, and the police need to come in the next few minutes. So we're not going to make the decision. We can work with the Florida League of Cities. We can work with other cities to see what they've done. We can work with the industry. But we have to find a way to make it work within Lake Worth. And that's going to require a conversation of the people who own Airbnbs and the people who don't want to live next to them. And that's a conversation that we need to have in the next few months. The state of Florida has just passed through committee a new regulation granting more Airbnbs.
This clearly is a thorny issue. As I've campaigned at doors, I've run into very reasonable people on both sides of the issue, people who were adamant that they moved into a neighborhood and wanted to have a real neighbor, somebody they could borrow sugar from, somebody they could look out for their house, would look out for exchange that service to each other, that their kids feel safe, not with people changing over. I've run into very reasonable people who are running Airbnbs and are concerned, live in the community. I'm much more favorable to the idea if the owner lives on the property, because the challenge is when things get out of hand. I agree that we need to have some way of bringing folks on both sides of the fence together, work this out in a fashion within the limitations of the state law, make sure that we have real protections in place. I don't know, I'm very hesitant about putting an extra burden on the police. Is that realistic that they can get there like that? I have hesitations whether that can really work.
This is why you need to re-elect me. I sit on the board for the Palm Beach County League of Cities and the Florida League of Cities, and we've been in Tallahassee and Washington fighting this fight on your behalf since Airbnbs popped up. Originally it was sober homes, and a lot of the sober homes sold and they became Airbnbs. We need to be able to bring back home rule, like Carla mentioned, and make those decisions on behalf of the residents. Airbnbs, just like sober homes, are not going anywhere. But we need the rules and regulations that help them make them better neighbors for the residents that are in those areas. And again, I'm in Tallahassee and Washington on a regular basis fighting that fight to make sure that we have those conversations. Like Carla said, we need to bring home the home rule, and we need to make sure that everyone's at the table and we're having those conversations.
Hi. Excuse me. Yes, I've been hearing about this problem that's been coming from Tallahassee for a very long time, and they like to interfere with our home rule, and I haven't seen a lot of improvement in that area because I keep hearing it over and over and over again, and I hope that we can have success and bring back our authority to the local governments. I also did watch the workshop that the commission had on Airbnbs and short-term rentals, and they've already looked at what other cities have done, and there are, I believe, 11 proposed regulations listed on the agenda there. But we didn't get to actually dive into any of those regulations and what they mean, what their intention is, and how they would actually serve the goal of the city, which is we have to be able to take care of these nuisance properties. If you have a bad neighbor, we have to be able to, either through regulation or a lot of times Airbnbs, like the actual technology, if they get enough bad reviews, will kind of regulate itself. But when it doesn't, we have to make sure that we have something in place and that we can go after them. So again, this definitely does require a lot more discussion, and I look forward to being part of that.
The Airbnbs are great if you live across the street and they behave themselves, or if you're like me in my old neighborhood and they have 400 Florida Atlantic University students show up for a Halloween party and drug dealers in the parking lot and whatnot. You might have a problem with that. We can't do anything about it, just like Commissioner Bloxon mentioned. And basically, when it comes down to home rule, we have to be able to make good decisions. There are fantastic Airbnb owners and vacation rental owners, and they have to be respected for doing the right thing. We've created a law that basically for regular rentals, that the owner has to live or have a manager within 30 miles of said property. So if something happens at that property, that somebody can get there immediately and remedy the situation. Telephone numbers posted for neighbors, so if something goes wrong. There's a lot of things that have been proposed by the state and by good property owners and Airbnb owners. We have to look at those since we can't control it as a city and make good decisions. Thanks.
It's fine. We can hear you. We can hear you great.
Yes, I say yes, we should regulate them. But at the same time, this problem been there so very long. One thing happened, it happened to me last night. Like when you're sleeping and then you had somebody outside, and when you go outside, not even people from your neighborhood. They just park and then make music. In order to make it happen, see something, say something. I know the police doing very great job, but we cannot let it go to the police only. We need to have a neighborhood work together. We need to put hands together. If you see somebody on your area, you don't know that person, you should knock on somebody else's door, say, okay, who that person is. That's happened. People coming from elsewhere, they come in to make party from your neighborhood, and then leave a lot of trash. So we need to work on it. And I think next couple of months coming up, things gonna be better. So we need to put eyes on the sheriff too. Help them with the job.
Hi. This is actually an easier question than the ADU question, because once we get home rule and we're allowed by the state to do stuff, it's very easy. We could have a special license for Airbnbs. I've had an Airbnb. I no longer use it as that. Never had any problem in a multifamily district area. You can have a special license, rental license through the city when we're allowed to do that, where if you have, X, Y, Z, we lend out the regulations and the rules, and if you violate them, your license is gone. It's just that simple. Frankly, I live in a house in a multifamily district. I live at 207 South L Street, and there was a long-term renter in the house next to me, and I wished it was an Airbnb because that darn guy was there for 2 years, and he was a complete disaster for my life. So the Airbnb that I ran for 3 years is on South Lakeside. It's a little condo I own on South Lakeside. We never had any problems there. We had respectful people. It's beautifully kept. And it was also a good source of income from the city. We don't have a hotel in Lake Worth. And this is the only way we can get income revenue from tourists. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not going to bore you. No, we can't change anything till we get home rule. Yes, I'm in favor of Airbnbs if they are mandated and licensed and paying their taxes. And you know what? Airbnb owners want to make sure that they're renting to people who aren't going to destroy their property, right? I think that if we bring all the Airbnb people together, I have talked to many people, and they come up with a minimum and a maximum stay, and they work together as an organization, that they're going to have more teeth than the city does right now in the meantime until we get home rule. But yes, again, we don't have hotels. We need bodies in these homes to support the businesses and to bring tourism up and to support the tax base. Yes, it's something we need. We do need to be able to make it legal, but not until the state of Florida releases the hold on us. Thank you.
One minute doesn't give me nearly enough time to address this issue. First of all, in a perfect world, we all know that Airbnbs would not be an issue, because if you've got an operator who's, abiding by the rules, and they've got good guests, and they're respectful of you, you don't even know that they're there. But the reality of it is, and everybody's talked about home rule. The Florida Constitution guarantees us home rule, however the legislator has taken that away from us. Technology is what brought the Airbnb industry to our doorstep in such a grand fashion that the lobbyists or whatever got to the legislature before we, as a community, could work within the legislature to create the guidelines for this. The bottom line is, and I agree with much of what's been said here this evening, if we can somehow regulate with real teeth, and I'm not talking about code enforcement, because if you know how code enforcement works, code enforcement is a process. It is not an event. We need to have something in place that if somebody violates whatever tenets of cooperation they're supposed to abide by, that there's an immediate recourse. Thank you. I told you I couldn't do it in a minute.
I want to thank all the candidates for adhering very well to our time limit. I don't think one of you I've had to stick my head out and say what's going on. So thank you very much. I know it's hard. I know we're asking a lot of you, but you're clearly trying. So I want to thank all of you for that. All right, moving along now to question 3. All right, question 3. The Parrot Cove Neighborhood Association Board of Directors has a long history of engaging with the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office for community policing and ensuring that concerns of our members and neighbors are addressed and are brought to their attention when we feel certain areas need additional attention. There have been headlines of cities considering defunding their police departments. Our question, are you in favor of defunding our local PBSO contract? Yes or no, and please explain why. Our list now will start with District 1, will be Scott Maxwell, followed by Sarah Malega. We're then moving to District 2, starting with Carla Bloxon, followed by Chris McVoy, and then Ryan Olblander. District 3 will be Kim Stokes, then Andy Amoroso, and then to the mayor's race, starting with William Joseph, going to Betty Resch and Pam Trio. Did everybody know who they're following? Do we know who's starting with? The order. Do you know the order? Hang on. William Joseph. You're going to follow Andy Amoroso.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. First of all, in my opinion, the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office is probably the best thing that's happened to this city since Sunshine. I've said that many times before, and I'll say it again. Crime has reduced every year over the previous year since their inception 12 years ago. However, crime is very real to you if you've been a victim of a crime. So there's still opportunities out there for the Sheriff's Office. I can tell you that we work very well with the Sheriff's Office, and when we get with them and when we talk about specific issues, they're very responsive. Community policing, which I think was part of your preamble, is an issue. We need more community policing. We need our officers, our deputies, I should say, to get out of their vehicles, walk their neighborhoods, talk to the folks, and just be more present as a what do you call them, the beat officer, if you will. I'm here to tell you that there are some candidates up here this evening that in the past have alluded to the fact that perhaps they would rather see us go to a Lake Worth PD again. I can tell you that over my dead body, as long as I'm your elected official, will we ever get away from PBSO. Thank you.
Thank you. I have many PBSO officers that are my clients from my other company, Personal Auto Shoppers, so I love and support PBSO. I think they're doing a great job. What I would like to do is reprioritize their funding to include mandatory body cameras in our city limits, meaning every officer in this city will be protected. If they run down an alley, I don't want a microphone recording what's happening. I want a physical camera recording what's happening to our officers, our residents. It also protects the city. Do I believe in defunding the police? No. What I believe in is community policing, getting rid of the police coming here and this being their training ground for every rookie and them only spending 24 months here and then leaving. I want officers to come here, to be invested here. I want to recruit from within so these officers have a sense of community and that they want to stay in this city and they want to make our city better. That's what I believe in. Thank you.
When you talk about defunding the police, are you talking about saying that we don't need the police anymore? Because when something's going on in my house, I want to be able to call and I want them to come. So I am very much against defunding the police. I do want to change their priorities a little bit. I attended the conference the other day regarding the police, and the police for Scott's district, they received $1 million grant. And in that grant, they have not had any program set aside for youth. If we don't get our youth in line, then the gangs are going to get them. So we need to take more money to spend on prioritizing what they do with the money. And also, I would never want to defund them, and I think PBSO has done a good job. It's not that they don't have room for improvement, but I think that we should be able to meet at the table and say, I'd like you to do more of this and less of this, because we don't need a helicopter.
I have no interest in defunding the police, and I'm fine with PBSO. I have no interest in returning to Lake Worth Police Department. We looked at that in the past. There's no need to do that. However, there are places for improvement. And a big one was referred to earlier by Sarah, and that is, and I've talked with both Captain Bear and Captain Silva before about this issue, Lake Worth is considered a training ground for police officers. That's fine for the PBSO. It's not fine for our community. Universally, what people want in this community is community policing. People who walk the beat, bicycle the beat, horse the beat, whatever it is that they're doing, that they're able to be in the alleys, be a presence, see some of the things that we all know are going on, and actually do something about that. Doing it from the vehicles is not working. I know of people who would like to buy in our community, would like to change from being renters to being owners. They do not feel safe enough for their kids, for their wives to do it. We need to do more.
No, I would not be in favor of defunding the police. I know that a big portion of our budget does go to PBSO, and it's almost ridiculous you get sticker shock from it. But I think we need to get the most bang for our buck from what we are paying them. If you do, I'll take a minute to plug that the Palm Beach County Criminal Justice Commission did have that forum on community policing this past Wednesday. The replay is now online. If you go to the NAPC's Facebook page, there is a link that you can watch that replay. It's about 2 hours long. And you can see that the police are trying. They are getting involved with deputies that are assigned to specific neighborhoods and associations. And they want to encourage people from the community to go to the neighborhood associations with their specific issues with crime, and then bubble that up to the deputies that they can take care of it from that point. I do agree we need more community policing and need more physical presence and see more people on the streets. They have so many tools at their disposal that they can use, and we should not go back to the Lake Worth Police Department, no way. Thank you.
Hi, I fully support Palm Beach Sheriff's Department. The first call I made when I decided to qualify for running was to Captain Bear, and I set up a meeting with him. And I know that they're doing a much better job than our predecessors did before them. So we have to stay with the Sheriff's Department. We have to support them. And we had a great conversation, and I look forward to having more conversations about how we can improve. Some of the things that we really talked about was how to strengthen neighborhood associations across the city so that we can get more community engagement with the police department. Also the fact that we need another service that can address the issue of homelessness, because they spend a lot of their time going after something that's not even a crime. And we're in agreement on this stuff. And he said that, you know, Lake Worth is doing much better, and I agree, and we still have room for improvement. So I think we absolutely have to support our sheriff's department. We need to look at the budget, make sure that our resources are being spent in the best way that they can. I think defunding the police is a buzzword, and I think it distracts us from the actual conversations that we need to have.
The health and safety of the residents should be number one. We quite often hear it's a large line item in our budget. It's not unique to us. Every city has the biggest budget they have is for their police. You know, my opponent is endorsed by the DSA, Democratic Socialist America, and right on their front page it says defund PBSO. So please make sure that you do your research and you know who you're voting for. My sister's a cop, so I think the sheriff's doing a great job. Can we do better? Absolutely. It was alluded to that they should be wearing cameras. Absolutely. And if you follow the news, the sheriff is actually working towards that, but it's a very large line item, even more than in our budget. I'm not interested in taking any money out of their budget. I'm interested in finding more, maybe some grants, more funding, so we can do these things. But I'm not interested in taking any money, whatever you call it, whether it's defunding. I'm not interested in taking any money out of our current budget.
Yes, I'm in favor of supporting Sheriff Department. We are not here to change and change and change. Even I say change will come. Remember, we used to have the police, city police. We changed it. It's not because they was not so good. It's because they was not doing what they're supposed to do. Now we have a sheriff. Only one thing we need to have more communication. They need to be more friendly with the community. It's not because I'm a senior investigator, cert, but they need to be more focused on the road, not only driving on the car. Sometimes they need to take it up. They talk to people out there. The community need to communicate with the sheriff. Like, when you call the sheriff, they always come in on time. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm here to support them. I'm not going to be here to take any fun out there. Over that, we need to have more sheriff, especially on west side of the city. We have a lot of work to done. Thank you.
The simple answer is yes, we should always support the PBSO. I supported Rick Bradshaw when he first started doing fundraising many, many years ago when he was elected. I'm from a law enforcement background. I'm a former prosecutor. My niece right now is a road deputy with the PBSO. My husband is a retired ATF agent, special agent with federal ATF. Can we look at how the budget is spent, and maybe we need to get into the community a little bit more? But I absolutely support the police. I was here when I was city attorney when the Lake Worth Police Department. There was no place to go. We were the training ground. Guys would go through the department, through the school. They would get certified. They'd come to Lake Worth, and in 3 or 4 years, boom, they went to the PBSO. Or the firefighters, same thing. So absolutely keep the PBSO. Things are getting better, but I also have a friend who's a business owner on Lake Ave on Dixie Highway, and every morning she's cleaning up the condoms and the broken bottles. So we need to do more. We need to have more presence downtown. People need to understand that the PBSO is there, looking at them and watching what they're doing. So absolutely support the PBSO, no problem. Thank you.
2020 was a really hard year, and it brought back to mind the basics that we all need to focus on. Community policing was brought up immediately, and PBSO has already started the whole process of community policing. In addition to that, getting rid of PBSO was the reason I got involved with politics to begin with. Who wants to be in politics and take all the blows? Let me tell you something. It's a beautiful department that we have. PBSO does so many programs with our community, anti-bullying programs. They do programs for our schools. They bring gifts to them. They bring them to Legoland. They do all kinds of things. We're bringing Ricky Aiken into the city right now to work with underprivileged kids in their teenage years. We need to focus, though, on our community center and our gym and bringing new programs, Boys and Girls Clubs, sports programs, other things to make sure that our kids are doing well. And PBSO does an amazing job. I fought and fought to keep PBSO because we had gangs on our streets, drug dealers. Let's keep them.
Okay, thank you, candidates. Okay, question number 4. It's been said for years that Lake Worth Beach has a low but increasing tax base, and it must be improved upon. An important key to the city's financial viability is to attract new residents and families with disposable income to increase the property values, purchase the new homes that may be built, rent the market rate apartments such as the Mid, pay the utilities that subsidize our operating funds, and support our citywide and downtown merchants. Question: what do you feel is the best approach to attract this important market segment? We're back to the mayor's group. So we're going to be starting with Betty Resch, going to Pam Triolo, then to William Joseph. And we're going to District 1 for Sarah Malega, Scott Maxwell. District 2, Chris McVoy, Ryan Olblander, and Carla Bloxon. District 3, Andy Amoroso, and Kim Stokes.
Could you
Betty
just
Resch?
read the question again?
I'll read you the last part.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What do you feel is the best approach to attract this important market segment? That market segment is basically families with disposable income that can help build our tax base and buy from our merchants.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi. We need more home ownership in Lake Worth, and there's a way to do it. We have many, many old houses. I live in a 1940s cottage shotgun that I bought 32 years ago, and it's a great house. And we have a lot of those houses in Lake Worth that have huge code enforcement fines and with uninterested owners. So let's get those houses, work with a prospective new owner, market this city out of the town, go up north and market the city. People are moving down here from the north now. Work with them a deal that if they can prove that they have the money to fix up that property and bring it to compliance, that we'll give them a good deal on it. We'll work on those fines, because what we need are homeowners in this city, and we have a lot of empty apartments that need that to be done. Houses that need that to be done. So there's a way to get homeownership in the city without having to build another mid or another high rise. We've got a real base that we can work with. We just have to be creative in how we're going to do it. So I'm all for home ownership, and we need to encourage it. Thank you.
When I got here in 2011, I was told that there were $0 of investment in the city over a 3 to 4 year period. Zero. I thought they made a mistake. I really, really did. Today, we're looking at over $500 million worth of new projects that are coming in. Nothing controversial, and nothing that is going to ruin our small town charm. I will tell you right now, excuse me, can you not take time away from me for that? Thank you very much. There are some great projects that are coming in, the Mid, the Bohemian, and also, of course, the Artist Work Lofts, and any project that comes in is bringing people into our downtown. I love the cottages, so much so that I supported a whole book and a movement called The Cottages. And that movement has brought people into our city to revamp those cottages and make them their home. But we need to bring more people in, and our hotel opening, the Gulfstream Hotel, is going to bring the feet on the street that we need to make sure that we've got people coming in. Also, all the new baby boomers that moved west to have their children, guess what? They want to come east and walk to the beach, ride their bikes to the beach, and we're that community to do so.
Well, this question can answer himself. Every election is every 3 years on re-election, people always said, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We have a commission been set there on this for decades, never done anything. We have no hotel. I can say we don't have any restaurant. When people are talking about downtown, it's a shame. You have to drive elsewhere, not other city, to see what's downtown mean. What about city of Lake Worth Beach? I'm not going to take that from no one right now. Tell me, okay, you're going to do this after 10 years, 7 years. Fight against each other instead of fight for the community. We don't want that. We need somebody who cares for the resident. We need a hotel in the city. We need better restaurant. Look at by the ocean. We have two train stations. We are surrounded by 4 airports.
So, contrary to what Mayor Pam said, I invested here in 2010 when there were many empty storefronts in downtown Lake Worth. I brought the first healthy element to downtown, the Zoo Gym, and I'm very proud of that. We're still in business 10 years later. You can build whatever you want, but if you don't have clean, well-performing schools, if you don't have safe, walkable neighborhoods, if you don't have leisure services, if you don't have things like what we used to have, evenings on the avenue, food truck invasion, reggae fest, you're not going to have people move into this city. So the bottom line is we need to do things to bring people back to this city and fill the houses and the homes that we have. But until we start bringing the leisure services back, and the recreational services, we can keep building. No one's going to buy. Thank you.
Well, I think there are two fundamental things we need to do to encourage folks to invest in homes here in the city and raise their children. Number one, we need to continue doing the things we've been doing for the last 6 or 7 years, improving our infrastructure, improving our utility services, improving our crime statistics, improving our neighborhoods in general. If you look around the city, all of our neighborhoods are making incremental improvements. The second thing we need to focus on is how we partner in some form or fashion with the school district. They have a $3 billion budget annually, yet our schools do not perform as well as the Wellington schools, the Boca schools, or the Jupiter schools. So until we can figure out how to get the school board to invest more resources appropriately to have our children have a better education, we're not going to be able to attract those families that we desperately need. But we are going to work on it. We are working on it. Mayor Pam's working on it. I'm working on it. And with a little bit of luck, I think we're going to be just fine. But we just all got to work on that and focus. All the legacy issues that I just mentioned, utilities, infrastructure, crime, have been addressed. Now we need to work on the education. Thank you.
This is a great question, and I think it's a very central one to this race. One theory on how to improve the tax base in the community is focused just on economics. Build, build, build. Don't worry about the character of the city. Don't worry about the kinds of services that we've just heard about. We used to have band concerts at the band shell. We used to have good recreational programs, baseball fields, other ones. Resistance to those, they've gone downhill. We used to have, well, I don't know if we used to have, but we still have big issues on community policing that homeowners are not feeling, I want to make the investment. We've got problems that were mentioned with liens that don't work well. We have a statement out there that this commission that's been there for about 10 years has dealt with the problems of the utility. They're obviously not on the street talking to people. Everybody believes that we have the worst electric rates in town. The problem there is we do not have a decent energy conservation program. It would be so easy to look through who's getting high bills, work on them, work with them, get that straightened out, and work on the schools.
Yeah, I used to be a renter, and then I bought a single-family home in Lake Worth, now Lake Worth Beach. And it depends who you ask, because are you trying to attract young professionals who want to live in market rate apartments? Are you trying to attract people who are retiring? Are you trying to attract families? If you're trying to attract families, the realtors can tell you they're looking at the school ratings. And when they see the school ratings, they're like, oh, go somewhere else. But if you're anybody else outside that segment, Lake Worth Beach is the place for you. I personally have had friends that have moved away once their school children have become certain school age, and it's terrible. I'm still here. I'm sticking around. But I would like to see the education issue addressed. I'm going to the Lake Worth Beach Education Task Force meeting tomorrow. It's February 16th at 3 p.m. I think the invite's still out there for everyone who wants to attend. We need to solve our problems with improving our school ratings. Even though they're just numbers or letters, they mean something to the people who want to move here. I think the CRA has a good direction where they're going with Dixie Highway and west of downtown. I would like to keep downtown with its small town charm. I think everyone appreciates the events that were going on that we need to bring back. Thank you.
When I moved here 25 years ago, I had 2 kids in high school. And the first thing I thought about was, I'm ready to get my kids ready for college. Is this where we want to live? We decided wholeheartedly that we wanted to invest in Lake Worth. And that's what we're asking families to do. So in order to ask them, we have to fix our school system. The Mayor's Coalition on Education is going to be great because we have citizens that are invested. When you talk about making people want to live in Lake Worth, we need to improve our housing stock. But we also need to have a place where people want to live. And if we have a CRA that can bring business to Lake Worth, why can't we have a CRA to bring families to Lake Worth, to bring housing stock to Lake Worth? It's a change in direction. We can ask to say, I need Habitat for Humanity to come here. I need more home ownership for our citizens. I'm not saying give them priority, but I am saying give them added weight for the housing stock that we have. There are many things that we can do.
Look at what we've done in the last 10 years. We have an award-winning CRA. Commissioner Maxwell alluded to some of the work that we've done. We've lowered your utility bills. Can we do better at marketing it? Absolutely. With social media, it runs around the block 12 times, and it's not always right. It's not always factual. I'm very appalled that a candidate for commissioner would get up and trash your downtown. I'm a small business owner. Sarah's a small business owner. We've invested our hard-earned money, and we have a great downtown. The downtown over the years has come up and down. You know, we have great restaurants. In the middle of a pandemic, we have new businesses opening. You know, people want to be here. Our realtor partners have no inventory. There's a reason why. As far as code, you know, we have that. Betty mentioned it. I'm sure she knows because she's at special magistrate all the time. We already have those things. You know, people can come, and if they buy a property, they can get it reduced. Thank you.
Hi, I know a lot of people that do want to move into Lake Worth, and they can't find the right property at the right price for them. And I do think we need to look at our overall housing stock and really decide what, like other candidates have said, what are we trying to bring into the city, and we need to build towards that. Right now, it seems like whatever developer proposes, we go along with, and we should be the ones determining the vision for our city. I do not agree with building 5-story large apartment complexes in the middle of our downtown. People want to come to visit our downtown for the services and things that we provide, for the recreational activities and things like that. They don't come and visit to condos. So we can increase density along Dixie. We can increase, there's pocket neighborhoods. There's all sorts of different ways that we can add to our housing stock without having to sacrifice our character. And as far as education is concerned, I spoke to the commission at a meeting 3 years ago asking to form an education volunteer board because I knew that I could bring my expertise as a citizen and a former teacher to the city along with others to help, and they denied it. So did Erica Whitfield, and I'll be at that task force tomorrow too.
Okay, I realize I was remiss at the beginning of this. I said it in previous years. I didn't say it today. When you come to our meeting, I expect people to be respectful. All right? There's a lot of people that are here that have come out to see this. Please, if you have comments, keep them to yourself. Right? These are our guests. Whether you're in favor of them, against them, doesn't matter. They're our guests. Please treat them with respect. Thank you. Going along to question 5. Question number 5. The golf course runs the entirety of Parrot Cove. Its entrance is here on 7th, and people bought on the golf course. Many suggestions have been made for it over the years, and many different ideas exist on what it should be. Question: what do you feel the golf course should be? It's a big question. What do you feel the golf course should be? With that, we're now moving over to District 3. We're starting with Kim Stokes. We'll then go to Andy Amoroso. We then move to the mayor's race. Can't read my own writing. Pam Triolo, William Joseph, then Betty Resch. Then we go to District 1, Scott Maxwell, Sarah Malega. Then to District 2, where we are going to go with Carla Boxon, Christopher McVoy, and Ryan Oldlander. Did everybody get who they're after? Does anybody need me to repeat the question? What to do with the golf course? And with that, Kim Stokes starts it off. Thank you.
Hi, it's my understanding that the golf course was deeded and needs to remain a golf course. And I think that all of our public land for recreational use needs to stay open and available for the public to use. I think that there's talks about a golf course redesign that I've heard about, but I haven't been able to find much information about what that entails. I know we have issues with the golf course, flooding, things like that need to be taken care of. I promise you that any decision made about any major changes at the golf course will have town halls or workshops with real public input where we can look at different ideas and we can have some back and forth conversation, and it will be advertised in a legitimate way. It will not be like an agenda item on a regular meeting. So I think that this is a beautiful property, and it has to stay public, and if there are going to be any changes, it has to be done in the daylight with community involvement.
The golf course is a large suitcase to unpack. We need to have serious conversations with the residents that live along the golf course. A couple months ago, if you live along the golf course, you were flooded. The golf course was actually built as a estuary, and it's to hold the water. But what's happening is the bay is equal to the land. It's sunk over the years, and we need to rebuild it. We need to have a serious conversation. We are very transparent in, making sure that those conversations are had. We have lots and lots of meetings at City Hall. I just want to make sure that everybody attends those. Not always are they attended by everyone that needs to be there. And, again, it's a large suitcase. It needs to be unpacked. I personally think that, anything that we do on the golf course should be Audubon certified. It should be more of a nature area too, and I think that we can do everything and make sure that we sit on the base of the bay, that there's some water recreation, more kayaking, things like that. Thank you.
The golf course is deed restricted, and there are issues of sea level rise that are causing major problems along the golf course. There have been many people that have come to City Hall with all kinds of wonderful ideas, some creative ideas, and I know that the golfers along there would love to see everything raised so that half the golf course isn't underwater during a king tide, ruining the very greens that we put in and spend our money on. I think that there's a great way to reach out to the community and the people that love it, to talk about a new plan, to create a new course, to address sea level rise with whatever the latest mechanisms are, including retention ponds and such, and also to make sure that this remains a park space, that I know a lot of people that go out after hours bird watching. We should be Audubon certified, and we're also able to have some great walking trails out there as well. I think we can combine a mixed use and also make it a world-class golf course. We're the only golf course in the whole county along the Intracoastal. Thanks.
I think the golf course is a very nice position that everybody can come in. I mean, we can make a lot of revenue over that golf course. But the thing is, the commission that we have there for 10 years and 11 to 15 years, why is now on the re-election time, people gonna say, okay, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. How many more time they need? They need 5 more years, 10 more years to get it done? Thank you very much.
We agree on something. The golf course, what do I think the golf course should be? I think the golf course should be a place where everybody who plays golf wants to come and play golf at this venue. Good Lord, how much more gorgeous could it be? But we flood, and we need to deal with it. And we need to have input and science and how to do it. So let's work on it, let's get started, because the king floods are coming, and they're not going away. So let's work together to make a plan for dealing with the fact that half the golf course is flooded quite often, and make it a beautiful place. Upgrade this building, people should flock to this golf course. I thank you.
Frankly, there's not much more to add to what's already been said. I think most of us are on the same page. The golf course will always be a golf course. The challenge we have right now is how do we improve upon it? And of course, sea level rise and the impacts of that are our most immediate concern. The other concern we have is there was a lot of discussion and debate as to whether this clubhouse should really be here or at the southern, or where am I? The southern end of the golf course down by Lake and Lucerne. But the golf course is absolutely one of the best locations in Palm Beach County. You cannot find a golf course on the Intracoastal that I'm aware of, a public golf course anyway, anywhere here in Palm Beach County. So it will stay a golf course. It will not, to some people's liking, become a homeless camp or something else. It will always remain a golf course, and we will come to the public and we'll solicit your input on how to make it the best golf course in Palm Beach County. Thank you.
You know, again, when I opened a gym here in 2010, we started talking about this golf course back then. The bottom line is if we don't do a business plan, we don't get the right people to the table, we're going to be talking about this golf course again in 3 years and 6 years from now. We need to stop talking and start putting action forward. The bottom line is if we do not start making things worthwhile for people to come here, this golf course should have a waiting list every single season for tee times. We should have people dying to get on this golf course. We need to put the money where it needs to be, stop paying for frivolous studies that don't amount to anything, and start putting the money into the amenities that we have here and investing in our future. Thank you.
You know, not only do we need a golf course, it needs to be a destination place. People should want to come to the golf course not just to play golf. Maybe we could take one end of it and think outside the box and add something that would attract more people. Because when it's flooded, nobody's using it. Yes, sea level rise is an issue. And until we deal with it, we're going to have flooding to residents who don't deserve it. We need to put in a pump. That pump is going to cost $1 million. It's either going to be build a retention pond on this golf course or put in a pump. Otherwise, the people are going to be flooded out all the time. And as high tide is more often, and as we have the problems with climate change, we are going to see this problem more often. So we need to make a decision and make a decision quickly. We don't have time for a study. We don't have time for anything but getting all the people at the table who want to help make a decision. And we need to do that probably within the next 6 months. Because I think due to climate change, in 2 years, the golf course is going to be so flooded we won't be able to use it.
It's interesting. I've served on the commission before, and every year the golf course budget would come up. And the comment would be, we've got a new manager. We've got a new plan. We've got a new this. And every year, at the end of the year, the budget would come back in and we'd have run over. We'd lost money on it. Yes, the golf course has a deed restriction on it. However, that deed restriction was written at a time when nobody was thinking about climate change or sea level rise. We now have a situation where those things are happening. They're not happening on the 2-year scale that Ms. Blockson refers to, but they definitely are on a very measured increase that we have to deal with. If you raise the golf course, you guys got to think about this a little bit. You raise the golf course, what happens to the flood risk to the people who are living against it? Goes up. You would get sued. So you got to be thinking about these things. Yes, you do need thoughtful, careful studies. I would say relook at the deed restriction. I don't want to hear about it should be Audubon certified from people who've been on the commission for 9 years. That's been talked about forever. Why didn't you do it?
Yes, I believe the golf course is public land. I'd like to keep it that way in perpetuity. There have been talks about putting something at the south end. I don't know what yet, so we'll have to just pay attention, close attention to see what that could be. But if you go to Discover the Palm Beaches website right now, guess where the golf course shows up? Dead last. We need to work on our marketing. We need to work on a plan to get people to come to the golf course, to use the golf course. When we have the numbers coming up saying more people are using it, we also have to get more hotels. I mean, there's no hotels to put all these golfers to have tournaments. So we need to think about these outside things that are outside of the golf course, like our tourism dollars, and where these things are going to go, attract people here, and work on the marketing. The science will be handled one way or another. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, everyone. I'm a little disappointed. I did not hear anyone say a way to get the golf balls to stop hitting my house. That was the answer to that question. Anyways, thank you. Very insightful, guys. All right, so we're moving along now. Oh, and by the way, I don't live on the golf course. That's the problem. I live on the other side. All right, so we're moving along to our last section. Thanks, everyone, for sticking with us. And again, thanks, guys. You're doing a great job keeping it the time. So for the last section, the order was picked randomly. Devin on our board had 2 of the candidates over there. He pulled the names. Earlier I said we just kind of went in a sort of marching, moving order for everything else. So everyone had an equal turn in order and going first, going last. So for this one, it's all mixed up. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call the names one at a time. instead of going through the whole section. All right, so with that, we're going to start with Ryan Olblander. Ryan Olblander, you are first for the 3-minute closing statement, if you would. Yeah, sorry, this is the 3-minute closing. No, there's 5 questions. Did I take 6? You want me to make up something really quick? I did. No, it's been 5 the whole time, I swear. One at a time. So, Ryan, I'm going to have you come up. And then I'll just read who's next after that. So that's your 3 minutes closing statement.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Let me make sure this is up. Once again, my name is Ryan Oblander, and I'm running for City Commission at District 2. As a homeowner, I would like to see more families with children move here and stay here. I would like to see more developments on Dixie Highway, west of Dixie Highway. I would love to figure out a way to even get South Federal Highway involved. I know that there can be a possible finding a necessity study to get a few tracts of land added if there is a need for it. Is that 3 minutes already? Oh.
That was a different timer.
I was like, man, I must be talking really fast. Okay.
A few seconds.
Okay. Where was I? Okay. Yeah, I serve on the board of the Neighborhood Association President's Council. I'm the secretary of communications, and one thing I feel that we do all need to work on is communication. Everyone who hears this message, they need to, if they're not part of the neighborhood association, they should reach out to the neighborhood association, ask how they can get involved. There are numerous people who take the time and they go to the meetings and they share the information, and then they have other people who don't do anything and they say, why is this building in my backyard? I have no idea what's going on. How come it's there? So we need to figure out a way to reach these people and to get the message out to them that there are processes, that they can speak up at any point in any part of the process, that if they don't like something, speak up, use your voice, say something. If there's a road going in your backyard you didn't expect, say something. We need to stop the apathy. We also need to help people just realize that they can, if it continues that we can watch the commission meetings online, I recommend that everyone watch them at 1.5 speed. Saves you a lot of headache and time. You don't have to watch them in real time. Just watch them later at 1.5 speed, you're good. And slow them down for the important parts. Public participation is very important. I would love to see more people get involved with the city, with the boards. I would love to see the commission, the electeds, task the boards with things to do and not just have them twiddle their thumbs. So there are a lot of volunteers. We have terrific community organizations that we can reach out to and partner with. Healthier Lake Worth Beach is helping the neighborhoods. NAPC is helping the neighborhoods. There's other nonprofits, the Guatemalan Mayan Center for the Children. I can go on and on and on. So if you don't want to get involved with the city, then please just get involved with a nonprofit and help with the segment that you want to help with. So I chose to take my time to talk about those things, to get more community participation. Reach out to your neighborhood association, get involved, because with stronger neighborhoods, we can have a stronger city. Thank you.
Okay, Carla Bloxon, you are up next.
I'm asking for your vote so that I can continue the things that I've done for the past 25 years. Not only have I served on committees, I've tried to do the real work of trying to make the city a better place to live. Oftentimes I'm on the south end, it's for people who aren't as prosperous as some of us. And when a lady spoke the other day about how when her kids go out to school in the morning, they're dodging bullets.